Hey guys, my name is Pete and I'm the creator of TennisCon. We also have an instruction channel called Crunch Time Coaching, and one of my favorite things to coach is picture perfect volleys. Why is that so important? Because when you play a match and you set up everything great from the baseline, or you're at the net and the ball comes to you, when you have a picture perfect volley, you can make that volley every single time, and we know how frustrating it is to blow volleys. So let's get right into this lesson. I want to start this lesson by asking you a very, very important question that very few people get right when I ask them, and that's what's the one body part that absolutely has to move to make a volley? It has to move, you have to do it. What's the one thing you have to do? And I want you thinking about that right now. Come up with your own answers, and then I'll tell you some of the answers that I hear from a lot of people. Well, first of all, people say your feet, right? Because they think that's what all coaches want to hear, is move your feet. And I do want you moving your feet at the net, but that's not necessary. In fact, sometimes you're not going to have time to move your feet. You're actually going to be hitting a volley flat-footed. Sometimes that happens to all of us. It's okay, and you can still make the volley. The other big answer I hear is you gotta turn your shoulders, okay? And this is the number one pet peeve I have as a coach, is this idea of, hey, when you go to volley, turn your shoulders, because that's not what absolutely has to move too. You do want to turn your shoulders to get set, especially if you want to get more pop on a volley, but sometimes it's really going to hurt you. Let me just talk about first, before I give you the answer, why I don't like the shoulder turn, because some of you might be like, well, I've always heard shoulder turns are great for volleys. Here's why I'm not crazy about it as your first move. If you always just get in the habit of seeing a ball and you turn your shoulders to the volley, see, just a natural, nice shoulder turn, where is the racket right now? It's well behind me. So if a ball is coming really, really fast and I go to hit it, if I hit it at this angle late, the ball is going to shoot way up and out. Okay, so going here and just thinking about a shoulder turn, lots of times will have you volleying the ball late. You'll be doing too much, and this makes people get really sloppy and swingy and kind of panicky on their volleys. What you have to become really great at is you have to be very good at your first move is moving your hands, catching a ball. And we're going to do some exercise a little later after I get into these demos, but that is what you absolutely need to have. I mean, think about it. Let's say you're at the net and all of a sudden the ball comes right to you like a bullet. Well, you got to move those hands. Just like someone threw a ball at me really fast, I'd have to get those hands ready to catch. So that's the first thing you want to get really good at, is being really loose and quick here. On the backhand, forehand, that's what you need to do. If all else fails and you don't have any time to get ready, you got to move those hands. You got to move those hands. The hands got to get ready to go. So that's your first move. Now, when do the shoulders get involved? If I have more time, or if I'm further back here in the court, I'm coming in, let's see, I see a ball floating, and I got my hand set first. So the first thing we want to do is find the ball with our hands. Find the ball with our hands. Again, you can see the racket. I'm keeping that racket out in front. Now, if I have more time, I can go into the hands and then turn the shoulders and then punch through it more if I want to get more power on the volley like this. So I'm here, I turn the hands, I see the ball. Now it's floating there, I got more time, I'm turning my shoulders, and then I'm popping that volley. So remember that. You can practice that. We're going to go against the wall here in a second and practice, but the best thing is just, having catches and making sure you can always catch a ball out in front. Very, very important to be able to do. Now, let's just get into a little bit more detail in case you don't know. Maybe you're new. Some people have been watching tennis forever that come to these events, and so they know, hey, you got to have the continental grip. Some of you might be new to the sport. So on a volley, you definitely do want the continental grip, which is taking the webbing in your hand right down the racket and shaking hands, and you want to hold that. Now, if you've never done this before, it is a little uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's important because you can, at this point, take a volley at any level and make it. Okay, you can take a volley at any level and make it, and so that's super important on the forehand and the backhand. Now let's get into the backhand volley just a little bit as far as your hand turn, then we'll go into more detail on both of them. So when you have the racket in your dominant hand, it's just about turning your hands real quick with that hand. Now, I suggest you get really good with your offhand on the backhand volley. So when the ball's coming, you're good like this. You're good at using that top hand. That's a little secret that a lot of people don't think about. So I want you to practice volleying first like this with your top hand volley. Get really, really good at this top hand volley. So you're here, top hand move. See, the top hand is dictating that move so I don't go too far back. I'm here, I keep the top hand moving, now I'm set up, now I can get a little bit of a shoulder turn and volley. So there you go, that's the most important thing that we want to start with. Now let's get into more detail on how we're going to have beautiful looking volleys that don't let us down in the most important parts of a match, and then I'm going to show you a great drill that I want you to do that's really going to help you out with this. So once we get our hands ready to go, what we need to start doing is we need to start telling a story. So you want to be able to tell a really clean, clear story with your volley. Let me explain what that means. A lot of times when I say that, people are like, huh, what are you talking about, Pete? I don't understand what you mean. You want to tell a good story with your volleys. Most people don't tell a good story with their volleys. When they're going to volley, right, they get set and then they're done their volley. And if you see my hands right now, watch the way I'm finishing. I'm gonna come back here, I go to volley, and I'm not telling any story. You don't know. I could have hit that ball out, I could have hit it perfectly. The story is actually saying I hit the ball over there. That's the story I'm telling right now. You want to tell a really good story with your string. So when you go to volley, and I'm just going to ask you right here, before I even hit a volley, say, am I hitting a volley on this side of the camera or am I hitting a volley on this side of the camera, just by watching the way I tell my story. So here we go. I'm going to get set. I'm going to tell a story right now with a shadow swing. So I'm coming here, I go to volley. Guess, where did that volley end up going? Did it go on that side of the camera or did it go on that side of the camera, that volley? All right, so here it comes, watch. Now I'm going to do the same thing, tell that story, and volley. And hopefully you saw the ball going past on that way of the camera. Now, if I want to hit my volley on the other side of the camera, I gotta change that a bit. I gotta change my story. I'm here and then I freeze. So the idea and how we get these picture perfect volleys is freezing the strings on the target. Now the volley is going off on that side of the camera. And you really want to hold those finishes. I love people to hold for 3 seconds. We're going to do a drill on this in a second. Where I'm here, I volley, and I hold the strings for 1, 2, 3. And I want to make sure I'm telling a very clean, crystal clear story. Most people, what happens when they go to volley, they do what I call breaking the wrist. And so they're trying to volley over there and they're done and you can't tell where they just went. They might make that volley, they might not. And you want to do is lock the wrist in and go and volley. Now before we get into this exercise, I want to give you a couple more tips on how to hit picture perfect volleys. Another big mistake that people make is when they go to volley, they're always told to, just keep your hands out in front. All you gotta do is reach your hands out in front and volley, and that I don't think is true either, as far as that's why you do want the shoulder turn. That's why you do want some play in your elbow in general. So sometimes this will work. If I'm really close to the net and the ball's coming super fast at me, and I just put my hands out here and I go to volley, and I just let the strings and the ball contact each other. That's what a lot of coaches say. All you gotta do is have the strings and the ball contact each other, and that's true. If you're super close to the net and the ball comes really fast, that's all you need. And if you just deflect it to one side or the other, you can hit a nice winner volley there. But if you need extra pop on the volley, this is not going to work. If I'm just out here, now I've got nowhere to go. So most volleys, what you want is you want to have some play in the elbow. And there's an old game. I'm dating myself, but this is over 50. So I just did a clinic out in Maine, and people are like, yeah, I remember that game. There's this game called Rock'em Sock'em Robot, to where it's this red robot versus this blue robot, and it would always extend the elbow out for the punch. You punch like that. So that's what you want to do on your volleys. You want some play in your elbow, and then you want to extend out. That's how you can get more pop on your volleys, by coordinating that punch right there in your elbow. So the way you can get the most out of your volley is you get here, again, you find the ball with your hand, you can add a little shoulder turn, and now you're also putting some weight here on your dominant leg if you're doing the forehand volley, right? The leg that has the racket in the hand. I'm set here, I'm putting some weight here, I'm looking to push in here, right? Push in, push in, kind of like I'm throwing a punch, or if you're stepping into a ground stroke, you want to do that as well. But what you want to do is add this rock'em sock'em robot finish where you're here and you make sure when you're done you extend all the way out. By the time you're done, your elbow should be locked out. This is another reason why people miss volleys and they don't pop the volley really firmly, is they're here and by the time they're done, there's still play and that ball just like shot way out. See how there's still play in my elbow? So lots of people volley like this, very weakly. Very weak volley and they got play. There you go, in the elbow. Look at the elbow finish. We don't want that. We don't want this right here. We want it extended out. We want to extend it out. So I'll show you some from the side so you can see. So I'm here, I get right here, I'm putting the weight in here and I'm stepping and I'm fully extended out. So make sure you practice that. Okay, let's get into some picture perfect volleys. Okay, so now we're going to do the forehand volley. You see what I'm going to try and do is tell a story to finish near where the basket of balls are and the camera. So you see I'm holding, there we go, we hit the basket for the first time. See right there. So every time my goal is to be close and hold right on that. So you can see most of the balls are going right back to that corner because I'm telling, we hit it for the second time, I'm telling a story. And by checking out and taking a look, we just hit it again. There it goes, it fell down. I knew that was only a matter of time. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I did want to show you guys. There you go, now we're hitting the camera. So now, every time, so you can see I'm pretty accurate there. And the reason is because I'm telling a story. Now if I'm not telling a story, being I'm not holding my strings, then I can kind of flop everywhere. Now you see they're kind of going all over the place. And this is what a lot of people do on their volleys, where you want to lock in and hold. Tell that story. So what I want you to do is as you do this, if you can hold for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm kind of going away from the camera now on purpose because I don't want to hit it, but you can see I'm holding that every time for those extra beats. Okay, so now once you're comfortable stationary making volleys, now what we're going to do is we're going to start to add some movement because that's when things get really challenging, but I still want you to get that hold finish, right? And I'm going to back up, again, start to approach the ball on the run and hold. You see that even though I am moving to it, I can even move through it and keep running and hold. That's what a lot of people don't do. You have time to do that, guys. Lots of people, when they go to volley, they move to it and then they're slapping at the ball. You got to have that racket head control. So as you're moving to it, you hold on the move. Pete Sampras was so good at that. Right, here we go. Wait one more, and I'm going to go down the line. Right, watch. Come here and hold on the move. And you can see every time it's money. Here we go again, one last volley. Holding on the move. See, now I swung and I missed. We'll be back to show you the backhand volley. Missed again. There you go. I gotta get some fancy ones in for you guys. But it's all about deflecting those strings. Okay, so before we go on to the backhand volley, I do want to show you one more thing that's super important for both the forehand and the backhand volley, and I'm going to show you a great drill you can do. This has worked so well for my students. Whenever I've done this with anybody, it's like magic. So you have to try this. Don't just watch this. You'll be so impressed. That's why the 30-day challenge that we're going to do together is so awesome, is we're going to do this kind of stuff together. But watch this. So when people go to volley, it's very important that you finish with this angle. Do you see this angle that I'm creating? This is the magic angle that you want to finish most of your volleys at. Now, if you hit the volley too late, it's going to fly out. But if you're out in front and doing that, this is how the finish should be. What you don't want to do, see, the more the racket butt starts to get even That's not good. You think that would be good, but you're basically just going to make volleys if you're like right on top of the net. Otherwise, they're going to go in the net. And then when the volleys start to turn over, this is when people are breaking their wrists. Same thing is true on the backhand side. You want to finish. This is a big trick right here. You want to finish with your racket butt angle like that. Look at this line that we're making. Again, once it starts to turn in like this, you're not making many volleys. You're hitting them a lot into the net. And then once it turns over, who knows? Anything goes. It depends on how fast you're doing it, whether you're hitting out or slamming the ball into the net. And so to avoid that happening, what I have people do is they hold a tennis ball in their non-dominant hand, especially for the forehand volley this works, and the backhand volley is a little tougher. So we're here and we're going to volley, and I want both hands together. I like to call this kind of the carrying hands move. This will really, like you're opening up a flower here. Let me show you this. Like we're opening up a flower together. This is really going to help you with the angle of your volley. So we're here, we have both hands together, we go and we volley, and then this finishes, the ball is right under there, and you want to be able to jab it really good. You want to be able to go 1, 2, 3. So that's what I'm going to do on the ball machine right now. I'm going to be here, both hands together. Don't let them separate too far. Now when you get more advanced, this is fine, but if you find that you break your wrist, if you're having a lot of trouble with control on the volleys, I like the hands closer together for more of that 3-5, 4-0, 3-0 level, 3-0, 3-5, 4-0 level. I like people who struggle with the volley to do this and have the hands together. And we go 1, 2, 3. Watch this. Watch how cool this is going to look. I got the ball in my other hand, and here we go. I'm going to get set. Both hands together. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Both hands together. 1, 2, 3. Both hands. It just simplifies the volley. People who I've done this with, all of a sudden they get rid of all the mess, and they're just cutting right to the point of hitting crisp and clean volleys every time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Watch what happens if I break character here. I can't, see now I got to bring it back here. So if you break character, that's okay. No one's perfect. Sometimes you'll break your wrist. Correct it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here I go one more time. It's set. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, those volleys feel good. They feel so good. I hit it in the net again. See, every time I break my wrist, I miss. So the backhand volley, if I'm going to be completely honest, might be one of the most botched shots in the game. And they can look pretty ugly. Backhand volleys can look pretty ugly. But when you get them right, oh my gosh, they are so pretty to watch. So that's what we want to do. First of all, we really want to get good with that offhand. Again, doing that picture-perfect drill where you're having the ball machine come at you, or someone pitching you the ball, or even if you're going out and hitting, just practice trying to get good here. If you're not very good at it in the beginning, that's okay. That's how you get good, right? So don't let some drills that you're not good at embarrass you and discourage you. When you get uncomfortable, here's one of the best lines I've ever been given by Eric Zier, who was he was a quarterback for Georgia Bulldogs. Now he announces, but he used to work in the mortgage business, and he came in and talked to us when I was in mortgages, and he says, you want to know the secret to success? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if you're not good at any of these, that means you're closer to success, right? You don't want to do the same things. If you know your backhand volley is no good, but you're like, oh, but it feels comfortable, you know you're far away, right? But we want to get closer to success. So lots of people do not feel very good with their offhand doing this and still being able to keep this. You'll find that when you go with your offhand, you're really going to start doing stuff like this. You just start overcompensating. But if you can lock into that, again, get the ball with your opposite hand, with your dominant hand, and do those with your non-dominant hand. Volley with your non-dominant hand and have that tennis ball there and do your 1, 2, 3. You'll be amazed at how quick you start to pick it up. So that's your first thing you want to do. Next, so we make our first move. Now the key to a nice strong volley is to not let this wrist flop. So you want to be pretty firm in your backhand volley grip, and then when you come, again, you want to lock out. That's another thing I see, especially on backhand volleys, is we have lots of weak moves like this and there's still bend in the elbow. You want to come here and lock out. You also want, I think this is a tip, I agree with them, I think I've used it too, but I have heard that people use an example. Jeff Saldenstein talks about fitting a ball in between your chest to your arms. That's very important because many people when they go to volley, they have their arms bent in here and then they have very weak volleys. You see that? And you might not be aware. You're like, why do I have such weak volleys, well, it's usually because you're coming in here. You want to have it spaced out. This is another thing where the arm is almost straight but not completely locked. See, if you're too straight, now all of a sudden it's too mechanical. You always need a little bit of elbow play. Elbow means there's room to move. So now I have a little bit of play in here this way, out to the side. And then I also have lots of room to extend. That's how you're going to get really good volleys. You're here, you have some room in here. It's not completely straight out. That's too stiff, mechanical, robotic. You're not going to get any flow on your volley. You need a little bit of bend there, but you don't want to be in here. Out here, volley and hold. Another thing you want to do, you want to feel like you are squeezing your shoulder blades together, right? That's how you can get some pop. When you use your legs, again, I'm gonna get set up here now. It's my opposite leg, my non-dominant hand leg. I get some weight here in the booty. I really put a lot of weight and pressure in there. The power comes from the kinetic chain, the ground up. So I'm putting my ground force into the court and then popping and squeezing those shoulder blades together. I also really believe the more you can think of this as a waiter tray and you're holding a tray here, right? Imagine that tray right there holding some beverages. This is really going to help with your counterbalance. Okay, so let's hit some backhand volleys. Let me show you how that works. One final tip. How do you know that? Because it's kind of hard to do with a tennis ball there. You can do it when you're working with your non-dominant hand, but it's hard to do it when you're doing your regular backhand volley. So one thing you can tell to make sure that you're not snapping over. See, when I snap over, I can see this part of the strings are facing me. When I don't, when I'm done, I'm still going to be able to see the front end of my strings right here. I'm seeing this part just barely. I'm just seeing, as I'm done and I go through, I'm seeing a lot of the edge, but I can still see a little bit of the strings in the front, the string bread in front. That's a good volley, and it's hard for me to see this side of my strings. The easier it is for me to see this side of my strings, I know I'm turning my wrist too much. So let's try some backhand volleys. Let's take a look at how they go. See, so again, you can see I'm really holding those strings and locking out. Holding those strings, locking out. Already feeling pretty good. Oh, that's coming right back to the camera. Trying not to exactly go at the camera right now. Just trying to really hold those strings for you guys. And you can see I'm locked out. Now, once you get good at that, you want to add the movement. People have a lot of trouble moving through a backhand volley and holding. This is where people will tend to flop. This is where people will come and they're just moving through like that. Now, I hit a great volley, but it's kind of lucky. I can't predictably do that. That's why it's important to come here, get my counterbalance and move on in and through. Okay. Do a couple more for you guys and we'll take a look at the side view. Coming here, getting down and moving through. Now my strings, one thing, my strings told a bad story. They went over there, they went out. So now I'm going to correct, make sure my strings hold, and that time we hit the camera, so we better stop while we're ahead. Now here we go. Now we're going to do some backhand volleys. Again, take a look at it from the side. See, I got the counterbalance. See, I'm holding my strings. 1, 2, 3. Really hold that finish. 1, 2, 3. Getting set. Notice how I always got to get a little bit of hop. Even though I'm freezing, I do want to get back on my toes, okay? Very important. So in case the ball comes a little differently, I'm able to make an adjustment. Great workout. We're going to be doing this in the 30-day challenge together. But right now, just enjoy the technique. All these volleys, pretty solid. You can see I'm extended all the way out. That was a weak one. Now again, I was in here with that, and that's why I didn't have it as strong. I want to create a little more space. Oops, here we go. I want to create a little more space and then freeze. All right, we're going to come back and we're going to show you how to hit those drop volleys. Okay, so what would an instructional video be on the volleys if we didn't go over the drop volley? It's the one that we all dream about. We have a great day on the court. We hit one awesome drop volley. Even when we lose, we might go to bed thinking about that great drop volley we hit. And One of my favorite instructors out there who really showed me the power of online instruction, his name is Brett Hobden, and he always talked about the idea of a drop volley, how you want to do something losing the collision, meaning that when the ball is coming, especially if it's got some pace, that your racket is light and falls back a little bit. That's how you kind of get the idea. I also kind of get like weakened knees. That's another little insider tip. As it comes, I kind of like get my knees like almost buckle and break. That's why McEnroe kind of always kind of did all this kind of stuff, because he had that feel from his toes to his head. Head to toes touch is what McEnroe had. And so you kind of feel that, like your whole body is kind of like loses the collision and gives way to the tennis ball. You don't want to overdo it, because then you're probably moving your body too much, but I just want you to kind of get that idea in there. And then the ball, the pace will come off the racket and just kind of die over the net. You also want to make sure that your strings usually kind of open up more than normal for this as they're falling back. So let me just demo some, and then we'll do some volleys. This idea of losing collision, I'm literally just going to hold the racket very lightly here and have it fall out of my hand. Look at that great drop shot I just hit. You couldn't hit that any better. Again, look at that. You see, that's what I mean by losing collision. We'll just try one more time. Here I got it laid back, and whoops, that was a little too high. Let's see if we can get one more. Look at that. And then that's the idea right there behind the drop shot. That's essentially what you want to do. And so you're here and you're just kind of falling back. Now I got to really kind of get my Johnny Mac hand touch going, and you can see how I'm fading away every time, and I want to try and get it lighter and lighter. Now I'm going to try and put it right, whoa, that was a good one, right in front of the camera here. Let's see if I can get one right in front of the camera is my goal. There we go. Nice little drop shot right in front of the camera, nice and light, nice and light. Oh, that was nice. Starting to get the Johnny Mac feel down. Then we can start to work on our little angle shot. We can work on our little angle. Sometimes you can bring your racket, you don't want to go too far back too early. You do want to make it out in front and then kind of fall back. So contact out in front and fall back. A little more legs out in front and fall back. And now once you get this going, oh my gosh, you can become a real touch master with this. All right, so one last tool you want to have in your tool bed is definitely the ability to hit angle volleys, to box your volleys. That's how singles and doubles, that's going to work so well. If you can box your volleys, meaning hitting your volleys to the boxes and getting them the angle off the court. And this is not necessarily a touch shot. It's a matter of, first of all, you want to be closer to the net, as close to the net as possible. You know, if you back up too far, the more risky it is to try an angle volley. So you have to have good net position, and your hands do have to be out in front. If your hands are behind you, it gets really tough to hit great angles. So one of my favorite drills was shown to me by Brian Gottfried, where he has the student on the net and then you're reaching out in front. Now I know that is cheating, I know that's not legal, but the idea is it really gives you a nice line of demarcation of you know, are you in front or are you behind? So because some people will do this and they'll come back here, they'll come behind the net. The idea is you come here and your first move is out in front of the net, get those angles, really find those angles. Then once you get good at that, then you can back up. But I'm just going to show you this right here to show you how powerful this is. And you see, I'm not necessarily just hitting touch shots. I'm powering through a number of these volleys, but since I'm so far out in front, I'm still making these shots. Okay, so you can see right here, I'm going to be out in front. That's how I can really get those angle volley going right here. See that right there? As long as I'm out in front, it's really easy to make these and box these volleys. So I want to hit most of them cross court. That's never going to lose a point. You won't lose any points doing that. Now you can do the same thing on the backhand side. It's a little harder because the angle's a little off, but I can still hit those great angles as long as I'm going out in front. These are even coming in high, but I'm still able to make it every time because the contact point is so far out there that I can even make that really tough angle. Now once you start to feel that, now back off the net a little bit, and now again, try and really go to the ball, get your angles going. It makes it really, really easy to box your volleys, and that's going to win all day long. All right, so let's wrap this lesson up and give you some things that you definitely want to get out of this. First of all, what are the key pointers? You want that continental grip. We need that continental grip to have a really good volley. We need play in the elbow to go, and our first move is the hand. The hand is the first move to get ready. Then from there, we can think about turning the shoulders. We want to tell a story with our racket. We want to tell a story. We want to have a picture-perfect finish. So one drill I want you to go out and do is to get a ball machine or have someone toss you the ball and go out there and freeze your volleys. If you don't have someone to feed you the ball or ball machine, you can actually go to a wall, throw the ball against the wall with your offhand, volley it, and then let the ball just go. Don't even try and ride with it. So do that picture-perfect finish. You also want to, another drill I want you doing, with your offhand, do it with your offhand and make sure that you're getting it the right way. Once you get really good at that, I also want you to then take a ball out and do the picture-perfect volley drill with the ball right here and freeze. I'm also going to leave you at the end of this video with some wall drills that you can do. But I think the most powerful thing you want to do is make sure below this video you can sign up for the 30-day challenge. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be going through all these drills with you. We have amazing videos. If you've been watching these video lessons, you should be blown away by the content and the knowledge and also the action plan that you can go and you can do this. But I do know that it's hard to do it, right? I mean, me and my girlfriend, we always talk about going on diets and you always talk about going to the gym, and you know, she said something interesting to say. It's like, I need someone pushing me. I just can't do it by myself. And you know, that's a natural thing. So I really encourage you to do this, go on this journey with me. I know just even here doing this lesson today, guys, I feel like my volley's improved. I'm not even kidding. Like I started to get the feeling back. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun. One last thing I want you to do is on the drop shot is go out there and literally just hold your racket like this. See, I'm just holding it up. I'm not even gripping it. And just let the strings collide with the ball and see how it gives way, and see if you're close to the net. Most of the time it will go over. All those went over by a lot. So I think you got a lot of good instruction out of this. You can always check out our website too, crunchtimecoaching.com, for more videos, and go to our YouTube channel. But I think the best thing that I can give you, the biggest gift I can give you, is to go through this 30-day No Man Left Behind challenge with me, because we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be doing all the work together. You guys can leave comments. You guys can post up videos. Post up a video of your volley. I'll take a look at it. I'll analyze it for you and let you know what I'm seeing you doing well and what needs to improve. So thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you check out as much as you can of TennisCon 2 during this week. We have a lot of great lessons ahead.